the Kearney School District. I'm a full-time substitute here in the district, and I also coach the trap shooting program. I'm sure some of you have heard about that in the community. Good way to promote the Second Amendment for young youth and promote safe, responsible firearm use and ownership. So we're really proud of that. One more thing real quick. I run a blog here that kind of keeps track of Clay County politics. This is a little bit long, so if you can't remember, I understand. It's claycomopolitics.wordpress.com. So feel free to check it out. I just put all of our representative stuff on there, a little bit of opinion of my own. I'm trying to keep it nonpartisan, although I am a conservative, so I'm going to let that come out sometimes. And after all, we all have opinions, so there's nothing wrong with that. So I also want to thank Cecil Levitt for asking me to speak. I don't know where Cecil went to. Give Cecil a hand. I've just been impressed with this man. 27 years service to our country, and thanks to everyone else out there that has served our country. This country wouldn't be as great as it is without people like you, so thank you very much. You know, I don't know about you, but I'm a little frustrated, and I'm just a little bit angry with those in Washington. How about you guys? You a little frustrated? You know, first we had President Bush run around at the end of the year last year acting like a chicken with his head cut off, saying the sky was falling, and oh my God, we can't get credit, we can't loan. What's the solution? $750 billion out of her pocket right there. Next, Mr. Smooth Talking Change comes in, and all the yes men and women in Congress, what do? $25 billion to the auto companies, $410 billion omnibus spending bill, $787 billion American Recovery and Investment Act. Her grandchildren are going to pay for that one. You know, of course the bill was supposed to solve the unemployment problem and stop it at 8%, which was just about 1.5% ago, so that's working out well. Now they want to go further. We've all heard about cap and trade, and if you don't know what cap and trade is, it's basically a carbon tax. What we're going to do is we're going to tax carbon producers. Included example, your electric company, and we're going to take that money and we're going to redistribute it to those that produce green energy. Look, I love green energy. It's the future of this country. It's the future of the world. There's nothing wrong with it, but you can't take the pendulum and swing it completely to the other direction without a little sense in the middle. This proposal will tax energy on every single one of you. And by the way, I'm sure some of you make less than $250,000 a year. Am I right? Yeah, so much for empty promises on, and we're going to tax the rich, right? You know, then on top of that, we're talking about a government-run healthcare program. Look, I know healthcare in this country isn't the greatest. We have one of the highest dissatisfactions in the developed world. That's understandable, but the solution is not going to lie in a government-run healthcare program. It's kind of like a big monster truck, and your little healthcare plan is going to be the little junk cars in the arena that are getting smashed to death. It's not a solution that you or I want. You know, it's up to us to stop these bills and the trampling of our Constitution in this country. So many people say, well, the politicians are not listening. Maybe they're not. I personally think that they're listening a little bit, and if you look at cap and trade, you'll see that. As the representative from Congressman Gray's office mentioned, the vote on that was 219 to 212. And the only reason that bill passed is not because of liberal Democrats, it's because of the Republicans that voted for it. There's 8 Republicans that voted for cap and trade. It wouldn't be here if they hadn't voted for it. So make sure you keep that in mind. You know, the fact remains, the politicians, they won't be listening if you're not doing something about it. You know, the way I see it, we've got 2 options in this country. We can sit around and we can groan and moan and say, oh my God, nothing's changed and nothing's happening. Or we can get together, like we're doing today. We can communicate with our friends and neighbors, and we can start to do something about this. For too many years, many good Americans have just sat idly by and done nothing. I don't know if you realize it or not, but Barack Obama and the Washington politicians are the best impetus for getting people motivated and active in this country in the last 60 years. How many times in the last 10 years have you stood out here on July 11th and done something like this? Not very many, right? You know, now's the time to act, and now is the time for us to do something about it. Change is up to us. There's no one else that's going to do it for us, and a nice little bumper sticker that says change ain't going to cause anything to happen. You know, we have to continue to read and get more informed. Go contact your congressman, your House representatives. For instance, I know Doug Irvin sends me an e-newsletter every once in a while. That's one way to get involved. Set up a news alert online with your representatives. You get information every single day of the week, and you can keep track on exactly what they're doing. You know, our founding fathers expected us to keep tabs on the elected representatives that we put in office for us. But the problem is, we haven't always done that. You know what? That's okay, because that starts now. You know, take all this new knowledge that you get and start talking to your friends, your family, your neighbors, your coworkers. Our founding fathers expected us to actually have a dialogue about things that really mattered in this country. Instead, we've become a society that's obsessed with sports, fame, TV, food, and pleasure. Would you please change the dialogue? You know, if we want our children to grow up in a future in which they're not saddled with the failures and the debt of the previous generations, if we want them to grow up in a country where words have meanings and actions have consequences, if we want them to grow up in a country where people succeed not based upon the color of their skin, their race, or their sexual orientation, but because they respect the individualities of others and they're free-thinking individuals, then we must continue to stay active and not rest until our representatives in Washington and in the state work for us again. You know, I'd like to share a quote. The difference between the path toward greater freedom or bigger government is the difference between success and failure, between opportunity and coercion, between faith in a glorious future and the fear of mediocrity and despair, between respecting people as adults, each with a spark of greatness, and treating them as helpless children to be forever dependent, between a drab, materialistic world where Big Brother rules by promises to special interest groups, and a world of adventure where every day people set their sights on impossible dreams and distant stars. We have the true message of hope for America. And that message of hope doesn't lie within some politician or a bunch of politicians in Washington. It lies within each and every one of you and me. It lies within our communities. It lies within those common bonds that we all share as Americans. So when you get home today, pick up your phone or get online and send an email and tell Senator Bond and Senator McCaskill that we don't want cap and trade, that we don't want government-run health care, and that tell them you're going to guarantee that they're going to work for each and every one of you, not their selves. It's wonderful to see a group of people like you out here on a day like today, as hot as it is. Nice to see some youth, even though I've seen a few around here that probably aren't of voting age yet, but they're going to be, and that's wonderful to see. Thanks for listening to me. Hope you guys have a great day.